article of the Constitution is related to the Election Commission of India? A. Article 324. 2. Q. Who appoints the Chief Election Commissioner of India under the current statutory process? A. A committee consisting of the Prime Minister, the Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha, and a Union Cabinet Minister appointed by the Prime Minister recommends the appointment. 3. Q. What is the tenure of the Chief Election Commissioner of India? A. 6 years or until attaining the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. 4. Q. On what grounds can the Chief Election Commissioner be removed? A. Proved misbehavior or incapacity. 5. Q. What is the first step in the removal process of the Chief Election Commissioner? A. A notice of motion is introduced in Parliament with the required support of members of Parliament. 6. Q. What happens after the notice of motion for removal is accepted? A. An inquiry is conducted by a committee. 7. Q. What type of majority is required in Parliament to remove the Chief Election Commissioner? A. A special majority in both houses of Parliament. 8. Q. Who issues the final order for removal of the Chief Election Commissioner? A. The President of India. 9. Q. Which article provides for adult suffrage in India? A. Article 326. 10. Q. Which article provides for a general electoral roll without discrimination? A. Article 325. 1. Q. What is Niti Aayog? A. Niti Aayog is the policy think tank of the Government of India. 2. Q. When was Niti Aayog established? A. The 1st of January 2015. 3. Q. Who is the chairperson of Niti Aayog? A. The Prime Minister of India. 4. Q. Which flagship program of Niti Aayog focuses on backward districts? A. The Aspirational Districts Program. 5. Q. Which Niti Aayog initiative promotes innovation and entrepreneurship? A. Atal Innovation Mission. 6. Q. Which Niti Aayog initiative promotes localization of sustainable development goals? A. SDG localization. 7. Q. Under which article is the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes established? A. Article 338A. 8. Q. In which year was the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes established? A. 2004. 9. Q. Which constitutional amendment created the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes? A. The 89th Constitutional Amendment Act, 2003. 10. Q. Which constitutional amendment had earlier created a combined National Commission for Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes? A. The 65th Constitutional Amendment Act. 11. Q. Who are the members of the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes? A. A chairperson, a vice chairperson, and 3 other members. 12. Q. What judicial powers are vested in the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes? A. It has the powers of a civil court. 13. Q. What is the Employee State Insurance Corporation? A. It is a statutory social security organization under the Ministry of Labour and Employment. 14. Q. When was Employee State Insurance Corporation launched? A. The 24th of February 1952. 15. Q. Which report is regarded as the first major document on social insurance in India? A. The Report on Health Insurance, 1944, by M.B.P. Adarkar. 16. Q. In which year was the Bureau of Indian Standards established? A. 1987. 17. Q. Where is the headquarters of the Bureau of Indian Standards located? A. New Delhi. 18. Q. What are the core functions of the Bureau of Indian Standards? A. Certification, registration, and hallmarking. 19. Q. What is the BIS online platform launched for standardization activities? A. The BIS Standardization Portal. 20. Q. What does the acronym SHINE in BIS initiative stand for? A. Standard Help, Inform and Nurture Empowered Women. 21. Q. Which BIS initiative focuses on empowering women? A. BIS Shine. 22. Q. What is BIS Saksham? A. A capacity building initiative of the Bureau of Indian Standards. 23. Q. Which BIS scheme recognizes outstanding contributions annually? A. The Annual Excellence Recognition Scheme. 1. Q. Under which ministry does the Directorate General of Mines Safety function? A. The Ministry of Labour and Employment. 2. Q. Where is the headquarters of the Directorate General of Mines Safety located? A. Dhanbad. 3. Q. Under which act was the Lokpal of India created? A. The Lokpal and Lokayukts Act, 2013. 4. Q. Which commission first proposed the establishment of the Lokpal? A. The First Administrative Reforms Commission. 5. Q. What is the composition of the Lokpal of India? A. A chairperson and up to 8 members. 6. Q. How are the judicial and non-judicial members represented in the Lokpal? A. The number of judicial members and non-judicial members is equal. 7. Q. Who appoints the chairperson and members of the Lokpal? A. The President of India. 8. Q. What is the tenure of the Lokpal chairperson and members? A. 5 years or until attaining the age of 70 years, whichever is earlier. 9. Q. Who is eligible to be appointed as the chairperson of the Lokpal? A. A former Chief Justice of India, a former judge of the Supreme Court, or an eminent person of impeccable integrity and at least 25 years of expertise in specified fields. 10. Q. Who is eligible to be appointed as a judicial member of the Lokpal? A. A judge of the Supreme Court or a Chief Justice of a High Court. 11. Q. Which anti-corruption body was created by an executive resolution in 1964? A. The Central Vigilance Commission. 12. Q. Which act gave statutory status to the Central Vigilance Commission? A. The Central Vigilance Commission Act, 2003. 13. Q. Which committee recommended the establishment of the Central Vigilance Commission? A. The Santhanam Committee on Prevention of Corruption. 14. Q. Who appoints the Central Vigilance Commissioner and Vigilance Commissioners? A. The President of India. 15. Q. What is the tenure of the Central Vigilance Commissioner and Vigilance Commissioners? A. 4 years or until attaining the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. 16. Q. What is the composition of the Central Vigilance Commission? A. One Central Vigilance Commissioner is chairperson and not more than 2 Vigilance Commissioners. 1. Q. What are the 2 audit cadres under the Controller and Auditor General of India? A. Central Revenue Audit and Central Expenditure Audit. 2. Q. What is the function of the Central Revenue Audit Cadre? A. It conducts specialized audits of the central government's revenue. 3. Q. What is the function of the Central Expenditure Audit Cadre? A. It focuses on expenditure audits of central government ministries and departments. 4. Q. Under which article of the Constitution is the Controller and Auditor General of India established? A. Article 148. 5. Q. What is the tenure of the Controller and Auditor General of India? A. 6 years or until attaining the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. 6. Q. To whom does the Controller and Auditor General of India submit audit reports? A. The President of India. 7. Q. Which audit report of the CAG deals with appropriation accounts? A. Audit report on appropriation accounts. 8. Q. Which audit report of the CAG deals with finance accounts? A. Audit report on finance accounts. 9. Q. Which audit report of the CAG deals with public sector enterprises? A. Audit report on public sector undertakings. 10. Q. What is the status of the National Commission for Women? A. It is a statutory body. 11. Q. How many members are there in the National Commission for Women? A. 1 chairperson and 5 members. 12. Q. What type of powers does the National Commission for Women possess? A. It is a quasi-judicial body with the powers of a civil court. 13. Q. Which bodies generally have the powers of a civil court? A. Commissions. 14. Q. Which bodies generally have powers comparable to a high court in specific matters? A. Tribunals. 15. Q. Under which article is the National Commission for Backward Classes established? A. Article 338b. 16. Q. Which constitutional amendment granted constitutional status to the National Commission for Backward Classes? A. The 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act, 2018. 17. Q. What was the status of the National Commission for Backward Classes before the 102nd Constitutional Amendment? A. It was a statutory body established in 1993. 18. Q. What is the composition of the National Commission for Backward Classes? A. 1 chairperson, 1 vice chairperson, and 3 other members. 1. Q. Which organization was created by the Ministry of Home Affairs after the 2008 Mumbai attacks? A. The National Intelligence Grid, NATGRID. 2. Q. In which year was the National Intelligence Grid conceptualized? A. 2009. 3. Q. In which year was NATGRID operationalized? A. 2023. 4. Q. What is the primary function of NATGRID? A. It integrates data and facilitates intelligence sharing among security and law enforcement agencies. 5. Q. Which agencies are connected through NATGRID? A. Intelligence Bureau, Research and Analysis Wing, National Investigation Agency, Enforcement Directorate, Financial Intelligence Unit India, Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, Central Bureau of Narcotics, and State Police. 6. Q. What is the Quality Council of India? A. An autonomous non-profit national accreditation body operating as a public-private partnership. 7. Q. Under which legal framework does the Quality Council of India operate? A. The Societies Registration Act. 8. Q. Which department coordinates the Quality Council of India? A. The Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, DPIIT. 9. Q. Which international organizations is the Quality Council of India associated with? A. International Laboratory Accreditation Corporation, ILAC, International Accreditation Forum, IAF, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, International Organization for Standardization, ISO, and International Accreditation Corporation, IAC. 10. Q. What is the role of the Bureau of Port Security in India? A. It is tasked with security oversight of ports. 11. Q. Which national vision document emphasizes port security and modernization? A. Maritime India Vision 2030. 12. Q. Which agencies coordinate in port security management? A. Indian Coast Guard, Central Industrial Security Force, Indian Navy, State Maritime Police, and Port Authorities. 13. Q. Which force is responsible for security at major and minor seaports in India? A. The Central Industrial Security Force, CISF. 14. Q. Which ministry empowers foreigners' tribunals? A. The Ministry of Home Affairs. 15. Q. What judicial powers are exercised by foreigners' tribunals? A. Powers equivalent to those of a first-class judicial magistrate and certain powers of a civil court. 16. Q. What is the main function of foreigners' tribunals? A. To determine whether a person is a foreigner under Indian law. 1. Q. Under which act is the Central Information Commission constituted? A. The Right to Information Act, 2005. 2. Q. In which year was the Central Information Commission established? A. 2005. 3. Q. Where is the headquarters of the Central Information Commission located? A. New Delhi. 4. Q. What is the composition of the Central Information Commission? A. 1 Chief Information Commissioner and up to 10 Information Commissioners. 5. Q. Which committee recommends the appointment of the Chief Information Commissioner and Information Commissioners? A. A committee consisting of the Prime Minister, the Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha, and a Union Cabinet Minister nominated by the Prime Minister. 6. Q. What is the National Security Council Secretariat? A. It is the secretariat that assists the National Security Council on security and strategic matters. 7. Q. Which review led to the strengthening of the National Security Council Secretariat? A. The Kargil Review Committee and subsequent reforms. 8. Q. Who heads the National Security Council Secretariat? A. The National Security Advisor. 9. Q. Who are the key officials in the National Security Council Secretariat? A. The National Security Advisor, Deputy National Security Advisors, Military Advisor, National Maritime Security Coordinator, and Additional National Security Advisor. 10. Q. Which commission recommended the establishment of the Union Public Service Commission? A. The Lee Commission of 1924. 11. Q. Which reform introduced the competitive examination system for the civil services? A. The Macaulay reforms of 1854. 12. Q. Who was the first Indian to qualify in the Indian Civil Service Examination? A. Satyendranath Tagore. 13. Q. In which year was the Civil Services Examination first conducted in India? A. 1922. 14. Q. In which city was the Civil Services Examination first held in India? A. Allahabad. 15. Q. In which year was the Central Public Service Commission established? A. 1926. 16. Q. Who was the first chairman of the Central Public Service Commission? A. Sir Ross Barker. 17. Q. Which act established the Federal Public Service Commission? A. The Government of India Act, 1935. 18. Q. Under which articles of the Constitution is the Union Public Service Commission provided for? A. Articles 315 to 323. 19. Q. Under which act does the Central Bureau of Investigation derive its powers? A. The Delhi Special Police Establishment Act, 1946. 20. Q. What is the status of the Central Bureau of Investigation? A. It is neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body. 21. Q. Under which department does the Central Bureau of Investigation function administratively? A. The Department of Personnel and Training. 22. Q. Which committee appoints the Director of the Central Bureau of Investigation? A. A committee consisting of the Prime Minister, the Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha, and the Chief Justice of India or a Supreme Court judge nominated by the Chief Justice. 23. Q. What is the tenure of the Director of the Central Bureau of Investigation? A. A minimum of 2 years, extendable up to 5 years. 24. Q. What is Operation Hawk? A. A special anti-cybercrime initiative targeting online child sexual exploitation. 25. Q. What was the focus of Operation Carbon? A. It targeted dark web users involved in sharing child sexual abuse material, CSAM. 26. Q. What was Operation Make Chakra? A. A pan-India operation based on Interpol inputs that led to large-scale digital seizures and arrests in child sexual exploitation cases. 1. Q. What is the status of the National Human Rights Commission? A. It is an independent statutory body. 2. Q. Under which act was the National Human Rights Commission established? A. The Protection of Human Rights Act, 1993. 3. Q. Where is the headquarters of the National Human Rights Commission located? A. New Delhi. 4. Q. Who is eligible to be appointed as the chairperson of the National Human Rights Commission? A. A former Chief Justice of India. 5. Q. What is the composition of the National Human Rights Commission? A chairperson, one member who is or has been a judge of the Supreme Court, one member who is or has been the Chief Justice of a High Court, and two members with knowledge or practical experience in human rights. 6. Q. Which commissions serve as ex officio members of the NHRC? A. The chairs of the National Commissions for Scheduled Castes, Scheduled Tribes, Women, and Minorities. 7. Q. What judicial powers does the National Human Rights Commission possess? A. It has the powers of a civil court. 8. Q. Within what period must a complaint be filed before the NHRC? A. Within 1 year from the date of the alleged violation. 9. Q. What is the limitation of NHRC jurisdiction over the armed forces? A. Its role is limited to seeking reports and making recommendations. 10. Q. Are the recommendations of the NHRC legally binding? A. No, they are recommendatory and non-binding. 11. Q. Which article of the Constitution provides for the office of the Vice President of India? A. Article 63. 12. Q. Which article provides that the Vice President acts as President in certain situations? A. Article 65. 13. Q. What is the minimum age required to become the Vice President of India? A. 35 years. 14. Q. What is the principal qualification required for election as Vice President? A. The person must be qualified for election as a member of the Rajya Sabha. 15. Q. What is the tenure of the Vice President of India? A. 5 years, and the incumbent continues until a successor assumes office. 16. Q. Which members form the Electoral College for the Vice President of India? A. All elected and nominated members of both houses of Parliament. 17. Q. What constitutional role does the Vice President perform in the Rajya Sabha? A. He serves as the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. 18. Q. Is any fixed time limit prescribed for the election of the Vice President? A. No specific constitutional timeline is prescribed. 19. Q. Which article empowers the governor to address the state legislature and send messages to it? A. Article 175. 20. Q. On which occasions does the governor deliver a special address to the state legislature? A. At the first session after each general election and at the first session of each year. 21. Q. Which articles deal with the governor's power regarding assent to state bills? A. Articles 200 and 201. 22. Q. What options are available to the governor under Article 200? A. The governor may assent to the bill, withhold assent, return the bill if it is not a money bill, or reserve it for the president's consideration. 23. Q. What principle was emphasized in the Supreme Court judgment in the Tamil Nadu governor case 2023-24? A governor cannot keep a bill pending indefinitely without taking constitutional action. 24. Q. What is the motion of thanks? A formal motion expressing gratitude to the president's or governor's address. 25. Q. Can amendments be moved to the motion of thanks? A. Yes, amendments are permitted. 26. Q. How is the motion of thanks concluded in Parliament? A. With the reply of the Prime Minister. 1. Q. Which article deals with the resignation and removal of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the Lok Sabha? A. Article 94. 2. Q. How many days notice is required for a resolution seeking the removal of the Speaker or Deputy Speaker of the Lok Sabha? A. 14 days notice. 3. Q. How many members must support a no-confidence motion for it to be admitted in the Lok Sabha? A. At least 50 members must rise in support. 4. Q. Within how many days should a no-confidence motion be taken up for discussion after being admitted? A. Within 10 days. 5. Q. Which former speakers of the Lok Sabha faced removal motions? A. G. V. Mavlinkar, Hukam Singh, and Balram Jakhar. 6. Q. What is a privilege motion? A formal complaint by a member of Parliament alleging breach of parliamentary privilege or contempt of the House. 7. Q. Which article defines the powers, privileges, and immunities of Parliament? A. Article 105. 8. Q. Which article defines the powers, privileges, and immunities of state legislatures? A. Article 194. 9. Q. In what situations can a privilege motion be moved? A. Obstruction of members, misleading the House, or defamatory conduct affecting parliamentary functioning. 10. Q. What is the nature of the Committee of Privileges? A. It is a quasi-judicial committee based on parliamentary conventions inherited from the British system. 11. Q. How many members are there in the Lok Sabha Committee of Privileges? A. 15 members. 12. Q. How many members are there in the Rajya Sabha Committee of Privileges? A. 10 members. 13. Q. How many members are nominated by the President to the Rajya Sabha? A. 12 members. 14. Q. What proportion of members can be nominated to a state legislative council by the governor? A. 1/6 of the total membership. 15. Q. Does the Delhi Legislative Assembly have a provision for nominated MLAs? A. No. 16. Q. Which organizations developed the Meri Panchayat app? A. The Ministry of Panchayati Raj and the National Informatics Center. 17. Q. Which international award did the Meri Panchayat app receive in 2025? A. The WSIS Champion Award. 18. Q. How many members are there in the Estimates Committee of Parliament? A. 30 members, all from the Lok Sabha. 19. Q. Does the Estimates Committee examine public sector undertakings? A. No. 20. Q. Within what time should the government submit action taken reports on Estimates Committee recommendations? A. Within 6 months. 21. Q. Which article establishes the Supreme Court of India? A. Article 124. 22. Q. Who became the 53rd Chief Justice of India? A. Justice B.R. Gavai. 23. Q. What principle is generally followed in appointing the Chief Justice of India? A. The seniority principle. 24. Q. Who formally appoints the Chief Justice of India? A. The President of India. 25. Q. Which ministry processes the appointment of the Chief Justice of India? A. The Ministry of Law and Justice. 1. Q. Which article deals with the effects of a proclamation of President's rule? A. Article 357. 2. Q. Under what condition is President's rule imposed in a state? A. When the constitutional machinery in the state fails and the elected government cannot function according to constitutional provisions. 3. Q. Which article empowers the President to impose President's rule in a state? A. Article 356. 4. Q. Which article supports the imposition of President's rule when a state fails to comply with directions of the Union government? A. Article 365. 5. Q. How is the proclamation of President's rule approved by Parliament? A. It must be approved by both houses of Parliament within 2 months by a simple majority. 6. Q. What is the initial duration of President's rule? A. 6 months. 7. Q. What is the maximum period for which President's rule can continue? A. Up to 3 years, in blocks of 6 months. 8. Q. Under what condition can President's rule be extended beyond 1 year? A. During a national emergency or when the Election Commission of India certifies that elections cannot be held. 9. Q. Which article provides the constitutional basis for the 6th schedule? A. Article 244. 10. Q. In which states is the 6th schedule applicable? A. Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, and Mizoram. 11. Q. What institutions are created under the 6th schedule? A. Autonomous district councils and regional councils. 12. Q. Which form is used to object to the inclusion of a name in the electoral roll? A. Form 7. 13. Q. Who verifies objections filed in Form 7? A. The booth level officer, below. 14. Q. To whom can an appeal against electoral roll decisions be made? A. The district magistrate or district election officer within 15 days. 15. Q. What minimum percentage of electors' photographs is targeted in electoral rolls? A. 75%. 16. Q. Where is notar placed on the ballot or EVM? A. After the name of the last candidate. 17. Q. What numeral system is used to display the serial number of notar? A. International numerals. 18. Q. What is the maximum number of candidates that can be accommodated on one ballot unit of an EVM before notar? A. 15 candidates. 19. Q. Why are text searchable electoral rolls preferred over image-only PDFs? A. They are easier to search and analyze electronically. 20. Q. What challenge is associated with converting image-only PDFs into searchable text? A. OCR conversion is costly and resource-intensive. 21. Q. What is the Overseas Citizen of India (OCI) scheme? A. A scheme that provides lifelong visa, long-term residency, and travel benefits in India to eligible persons of Indian origin. 22. Q. Who is eligible for Overseas Citizen of India status? A. Persons who were eligible to become citizens of India on the 26th of January 1950 or thereafter, and their descendants, excluding those who are or have been citizens of Pakistan or Bangladesh. 23. Q. What criminal conviction can lead to cancellation of OCI registration? A. Imprisonment for 2 years or more within 5 years after registration. 24. Q. What security-related ground can lead to cancellation of OCI registration? A. If the OCI holder's presence is considered prejudicial to the sovereignty, integrity, or security of India. 1. Q. Which article empowers Parliament to rename a state such as Kerala as Keralam? A. Article 3 of the Constitution. 2. Q. Which schedule contains the names of states and union territories? A. The first schedule. 3. Q. What powers are conferred on Parliament under Article 3? A. Parliament may form new states and alter the area, boundaries, or names of existing states. 4. Q. What is the first constitutional step in renaming a state? A. Introduction of a bill in Parliament on the recommendation of the President. 5. Q. Which autonomous arrangement has been proposed for 6 districts of Eastern Nagaland? A. The Eastern Nagaland Territorial Authority. Enter. 6. Q. Which parties are involved in the Eastern Nagaland Territorial Authority negotiations? A. The Government of India, the Government of Nagaland, and the Eastern Nagaland People's Organization. 7. Q. How many subjects are proposed to be transferred to the Eastern Nagaland Territorial Authority? A. 46 subjects. 8. Q. Who composed the Vande Mataram? A. Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. 9. Q. How many stanzas are there in Vande Mataram? A. 6 stanzas. 10. Q. What is the full duration of the complete rendition of Vande Mataram? A. Approximately 190 seconds. 11. Q. What is the highest civilian honor awarded by the Knesset? A. The Speaker of the Knesset Award. 12. Q. What is the tenure of the Knesset? A. 4 years. 13. Q. Where is the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance headquartered? A. Stockholm. 14. Q. How many member states does International IDEA have? A. 35 member states. 15. Q. Which act rationalized tribunal appointments and service conditions in India? A. The Tribunals Reforms Act, 2021. 16. Q. What powers do tribunals generally exercise? A. Powers similar to those of a high court in matters within their jurisdiction. 17. Q. What is the tenure of tribunal chairpersons under the Tribunals Reforms Act, 2021? A. 4 years or until attaining the age of 70 years, whichever is earlier. 18. Q. What is the tenure of tribunal members under the Tribunals Reforms Act, 2021? A. 4 years or until attaining the age of 67 years, whichever is earlier. 19. Q. What is the minimum age for appointment as a tribunal chairperson or member? A. 50 years. 20. Q. On which monument is the state emblem of India based? A. The lion capital of Ashoka at Sarnath. 21. Q. Which animals are depicted in the state emblem of India? A. The lion, elephant, horse, and bull, separated by the Dharma Chakra. 22. Q. Which authority conducts the census of India? A. The Registrar General and Census Commissioner of India. 23. Q. Under which entry of the Union list is the census included? A. Entry 69. 24. Q. When was the first census of India conducted? A. 1872. 25. Q. When was the first synchronous and complete census of India conducted? A. 1881. 26. Q. What are the 2 phases of the census of India? A. House listing and housing schedule, and population enumeration. 27. Q. In which phase of the upcoming census will geotagging of buildings be carried out? A. The house listing and housing schedule phase. 28. Q. What is the sample registration system? A. A large-scale demographic survey that provides reliable estimates of birth rate, death rate, infant mortality rate, and maternal mortality ratio. 1. Q. In which year was the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act first enacted? A. 1976. 2. Q. During which period was the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, 1976 enacted? A. During the emergency. 3. Q. What is the primary objective of the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act? A. To ensure that foreign contributions are utilized only for their intended purposes and do not adversely affect national interests. 4. Q. For how long is FCRA registration valid? A. 5 years. 5. Q. When must renewal of FCRA registration be applied for? A. Within 6 months before the expiry of the registration. 6. Q. In which bank branch must FCRA registered entities receive foreign contributions? A. The State Bank of India New Delhi Main Branch in New Delhi. 7. Q. Which framework agreement was signed between the Government of India and the National Socialist Council of Nagalim, Isakmova? A. The Naga Framework Agreement. 8. Q. In which year was the Naga Framework Agreement signed? A. 2015. 9. Q. What is the purpose of the Naga Framework Agreement? A. To provide a political solution to the long-standing Naga issue by recognizing the unique history and aspirations of the Naga people. 10. Q. What is the e-Gram Swaraj Sabha Sarthi tool? A. An AI-based system that generates structured minutes from Gram Sabha meeting audio and video recordings. 11. Q. With which national language platform is Sabha Sarthi integrated? A. Bhashini. 12. Q. What is the purpose of the Admiralty Framework in India? A. To govern maritime claims and ship-related legal proceedings. 13. Q. Which international conventions guide India's Admiralty law framework? A. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, and the Conventions of the International Maritime Organization. 1. Q. What is the fair and remunerative price, FRP, of sugarcane? A. It is the minimum price that sugar mills are legally required to pay sugarcane farmers. 2. Q. Under which act is the fair and remunerative price for sugarcane fixed? A. The Essential Commodities Act, 1955. 3. Q. Which body recommends the fair and remunerative price for sugarcane? A. The Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices, CACP. 4. Q. Which authority approves the fair and remunerative price? A. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. 5. Q. Within how many days must sugar mills pay farmers after delivery of sugarcane? A. Within 14 days. 6. Q. What is the minimum support price, MSP? A. It is the guaranteed minimum price at which the government procures specified agricultural crops from farmers. 7. Q. Which body recommends the minimum support price? A. The Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices, CACP. 8. Q. Which authority approves the minimum support price? A. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. 9. Q. In which year was the minimum support price system introduced? A. 1966. 10. Q. During which agricultural transformation was the MSP system introduced? A. The Green Revolution. 11. Q. For which crops was MSP initially introduced? A. Wheat and paddy. 12. Q. Which categories of crops are covered under MSP? A. Kharif crops, Rabi crops, and commercial crops. 13. Q. How many times is MSP announced each year? A. Twice a year, for Kharif and Rabi seasons. 14. Q. Which ministry launched digital initiatives to streamline the public distribution system? PDS. A. The Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. 15. Q. Which two major food security schemes are supported by these digital initiatives? A. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana and National Food Security Act, 2013. 16. Q. What is the purpose of the Depot Darpan initiative? A. To improve infrastructure and operational performance of food grain depots under Food Corporation of India and Central Warehousing Corporation. 17. Q. What is the purpose of the Anna Mitra initiative? A. To empower field-level PDS stakeholders through real-time data access. 18. Q. What is the purpose of the Anna Sahayata initiative? A. To provide an advanced and accessible grievance redressal system for food security schemes. 19. Q. Which organization launched the Honey Mission? A. The Khadi and Village Industries Commission. 20. Q. Under which ministry does the Khadi and Village Industries Commission function? A. The Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. 1. Q. What is Sonhani honey? A. Sonhani honey is a tribal honey produced in the Korea district of Chhattisgarh. 1. Q. What is the Blue Ports Initiative? A. It is an initiative launched by the Government of India in partnership with the Food and Agriculture Organization to develop model fishing harbors based on blue economy principles. 2. Q. What is the objective of the Blue Ports Initiative? A. To establish sustainable and climate-resilient fishing harbors integrating blue economy principles. 3. Q. What is the official name of the National Mission for Self-Sufficiency in Pulse Production from 2025 to 2030-31? A. The Dalhan Atmanirbhar Mission. 4. Q. What is the target year for achieving self-sufficiency in pulse production under the Dalhan Atmanirbhar Mission? A. December 2027. 5. Q. What does the Sati portal stand for? A. Seed authentication, traceability and holistic inventory. 6. Q. What is meant by the cluster-based approach in agriculture? A. One block, one crop or village-based production model for focused cultivation. 7. Q. Which mobile application powers the National Fisheries Digital Survey? A. The Vyas mobile application. 8. Q. Which institution developed the Vyas mobile application? A. ICR Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute, ICRCM Fry. 9. Q. What is Vyas now used for? A. Validation of fishing villages and harbors. 10. Q. What is Vyas Bharat used for? A. Household and infrastructure enumeration. 11. Q. What is Vyas Sutra used for? A. Real-time supervision and monitoring. 12. Q. What is the nutrient-based subsidy, NBS scheme? A. Fertilizer subsidy system providing fixed subsidy per kilogram of nutrient content. 13. Q. Which nutrients are covered under the nutrient-based subsidy scheme? A. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and sulfur. 14. Q. Which fertilizer is excluded from the nutrient-based subsidy scheme? A. Urea. 15. Q. What is the maximum retail price of urea under statutory price control? A. 242 rupees per 45 kilograms bag, excluding applicable taxes and neem coating charges. 16. Q. Which nutrients are used in rice fortification? A. Iron, folic acid, and vitamin B12. 17. Q. What is the role of iron in fortified rice? A. To prevent iron deficiency anemia. 18. Q. What is the role of folic acid in fortified rice? A. To support red blood cell formation and reduce anemia. 19. Q. What is the role of vitamin B12 in fortified rice? A. To address hidden hunger and support neurological health. 20. Q. In which year was the fortified rice scheme launched? A. 2019. 21. Q. Which department implements the fortified rice scheme? A. The Department of Food and Public Distribution under the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. 22. Q. Which authority sets technical standards for fortified rice? A. Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, FSSAI. 23. Q. Through which schemes is fortified rice distributed? A. The Public Distribution System, PM Portion, and Integrated Child Development Services. 24. Q. What fortified products are promoted under public nutrition programs? A. Double fortified salt and fortified edible oil. 25. Q. Which foundation runs the gift milk program to improve child nutrition? A. The Akshaya Patra Foundation. 1. Q. In which year was the National Cooperative Development Corporation established? A. 1963. 2. Q. What is the status of the National Cooperative Development Corporation? A. It is a statutory body. 3. Q. Under which ministry does the National Cooperative Development Corporation function? A. The Ministry of Cooperation. 4. Q. Where is the headquarters of the National Cooperative Development Corporation located? A. New Delhi. 5. Q. What is the target of the National Cooperative Policy 2025? A. To triple the cooperative sector's contribution to India's GDP by 2034. 6. Q. How many members are expected to actively participate in the cooperative movement under the National Cooperative Policy 2025? A. 50 crore members. 7. Q. What village level goal is envisioned under the National Cooperative Policy 2025? A. At least one cooperative in every village. 8. Q. Which university has been proposed to promote cooperative education and research? A. Tribhuvan Sakari University. 9. Q. What is the vision document guiding India's cooperative transformation? A. Vision 2025, India's National Cooperative Transformation. 10. Q. In which year was the National Turmeric Board established? A. 2023. 11. Q. Where is the headquarters of the National Turmeric Board located? A. Nizamabad. 12. Q. Under which ministry does the National Turmeric Board operate? A. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry. 13. Q. Which ministries coordinate with the National Turmeric Board? A. The Ministries of Ayush, Agriculture, and Pharmaceuticals. 14. Q. Which states are major producers of turmeric in India? A. Telangana, Maharashtra, and Meghalaya. 15. Q. What is turmeric popularly known as? A. The Golden Spice. 16. Q. Which city is known as the turmeric capital of India? A. Nizamabad. 17. Q. What is the ideal temperature range for turmeric cultivation? A. 20 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. 18. Q. What type of rainfall is suitable for turmeric cultivation? A. High annual rainfall. 19. Q. Where is the headquarters of the Jute Corporation of India located? A. Kolkata. 20. Q. Under which ministry does the Jute Corporation of India function? A. The Ministry of Textiles. 21. Q. Through what mechanism does the Jute Corporation of India procure raw jute? A. Through departmental purchase centers. 22. Q. What is the purpose of the Jute ICARE program? A. To promote improved agronomic practices, retting, and certified seed use for better jute productivity. 23. Q. In which region are totapuri mango primarily grown? A. South India. 1. Q. What is India's rank in global coffee production? A. India is the 7th largest coffee producer in the world. 2. Q. What is India's rank in global coffee exports? A. India is the 6th largest exporter of coffee globally. 3. Q. Which two major varieties of coffee are grown in India? A. Arabica coffee and Robusta coffee. 4. Q. What is unique about coffee cultivation in India? A. India is the only country where coffee is grown entirely under shade. 5. Q. What are the characteristic features of Indian coffee? A. It is known for mild acidity and fine aroma. 6. Q. Where is the headquarters of the International Potato Center located? A. Lima. 7. Q. Where is the South Asia Regional Center of the International Potato Center located in India? A. Singna, Agra. 8. Q. What is jute popularly known as? A. The golden fiber. 9. Q. From which ancient civilization is jute cultivation traced in the Indian subcontinent? A. The Indus Valley Civilization. 10. Q. To which family does the apricot belong? A. The Rosaceae family. 11. Q. In which climatic region is apricot commonly grown? A. Mediterranean and other temperate regions. 12. Q. Which tea from Tamil Nadu has a geographical indication G tag? A. Nilgiri tea. 13. Q. At what altitude is tea commonly grown in the Western Ghats? A. Up to about 2,500 meters. 14. Q. Which ornamental flower species is used in polyhouse cultivation in Satyanampalli, Sambalpur district? A. Lysianthus eustoma. 15. Q. From which countries were planting materials for Lysianthus imported? A. Netherlands and Kenya. 16. Q. What is Adamchini rice also known as? A. Vindhya black rice. 17. Q. In which region is Adamchini, Vindhya black rice cultivated? A. Varanasi and the Vindhya region of Uttar Pradesh. 18. Q. Which organization facilitated the export of black rice from Chhattisgarh to Costa Rica? A. Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority APIDA. 19. Q. Under which ministry does APIDA function? A. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry. 20. Q. Which genome-edited rice developed by National Institute of Plant Genome Research uses CRISPR-Cas9 to improve phosphate uptake? A. Kamla rice. 21. Q. Which gene was targeted in Kamla rice to enhance phosphate transport to shoots? A. OSSPDT. 22. Q. Which were the first genome-edited rice varieties developed in India? A. DRR Dhan 100 Kamla and Pusa DST Rice 1. 23. Q. Which institution developed DRR Dhan 100 Kamla? A. ICR Indian Institute of Rice Research, Hyderabad. 24. Q. Which popular rice variety was used as the base for DRR Dhan 100? A. Samba Masuri. 25. Q. Which institution developed Pusa DST Rice 1? A. ICR Indian Agricultural Research Institute. 26. Q. Which rice variety served as the base for Pusa DST Rice 1? A. MTU 1010. 27. Q. What is makhana also known as? A. Foxnut. 28. Q. In what type of ecosystems is makhana cultivated? A. Ponds and wetlands. 29. Q. Which state contributes about 85% of India's makhana production? A. Bihar. 1. Q. What is the opium poppy? A. A flowering plant cultivated for its latex-rich capsules that produce opium. 2. Q. Which colonial authority established a government-controlled monopoly over opium in India? A. The East India Company. 3. Q. Which two cities were major centers of the opium monopoly in British India? A. Ghazipur and Patna. 4. Q. What are the principal uses of opium poppy latex? A. Medical use and manufacture of narcotic drugs. 5. Q. Where is lychee native to? A. China, particularly southern China. 6. Q. What is the ideal temperature range for lychee cultivation? A. 21 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius. 7. Q. What is the ideal annual rainfall requirement for lychee cultivation? A. 1,500 to 2,000 millimeters. 8. Q. What is the suitable soil pH range for lychee cultivation? A. 5.5 to 7.0. 9. Q. Which are the leading lychee producing states in India? A. Bihar and West Bengal. 10. Q. In which Indian location has asafoetida been successfully cultivated? A. Palampur. 11. Q. Which regions are the native home of asafoetida, heme? A. Iran, Afghanistan, and Central Asia. 12. Q. What type of soil and rainfall conditions are suitable for heme cultivation? A. Sandy, well-drained soil with low rainfall. 13. Q. How many years does asafoetida take to mature? A. About 5 years. 14. Q. What is HTBT cotton? A. A genetically modified cotton variety containing Bt genes for insect resistance and the CP4EP SPS gene for herbicide tolerance. 15. Q. Which genes in HTBT cotton provide pest resistance? A. Cry genes derived from the bacterium Bacillus thuringiensis. 16. Q. Which gene in HTBT cotton provides herbicide tolerance? A. CP4EP SPS. 17. Q. Which companies developed Bt cotton technology in India? A. Mahiko and Monsanto. 18. Q. Which insects are commonly used for insect-based livestock feed? A. Black soldier fly, crickets, and mealworms. 19. Q. Which Indian research organizations are promoting insect-based feed? A. ICR, ICR Central Institute of Brackish Water Aquaculture, and ICR Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute. 20. Q. Which institution developed a fungus-resistant genetically modified pineapple? A. Bose Institute. 21. Q. What disease does the fungus-resistant pineapple target? A. Fusariosis. 22. Q. What is the main advantage of the fungus-resistant pineapple? A. Enhanced resistance to fungal diseases.